outside the Pentagon held these beliefs about 9/11, which is considered true. I have not read anything about that. I don't have a comment on that. I don't know if he was a truther or not. I did read the news stories that the original news stories had no allegation that he was a truther. However, so I really shouldn't have the information for you on that. He gets statements on Does that matter to you? Well, in this country, I don't believe everything I see. I do research. I'm a journalist, and so I will not take the official story carte blanche. I think every American citizen at this point, after the JFK assassination, after the Martin Luther King assassination, has to stop and say, is what we're being told the truth, or do I need to do a little research, read books, newspapers, stuff on the internet? There's a wealth of information out there, and I think everybody, that we all have the light of truth in our hearts. We all need to figure out what is true and not take an official story right away as the gospel truth.
If this were a conspiracy, how many people do you think must have been involved?
It doesn't have to be a gigantic amount of people.
Really?
A lot of people, yeah. The way U.S. intelligence works, there's compartmentalization. I know if I'm involved in the operation, I know a tiny little bit of the operation.
Do you think just a handful of people could be responsible for this event?
This opinion is not based on theory. I just saw a pretty good presentation earlier today in which they had an ex-FBI counterterrorism official who says, yeah, you guys are onto something. If you look at the U.S. protection, CIA protection of Khalid Al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi, this FBI guy says, yes, you guys are onto something here. And he actually says it's only 5 or 6 people of an Alex station in the CIA who were protecting Khalid Al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi, the 9/11 patsies.
At the end of the day, what you want is a treason trial.
That's correct. Due process of law. That's an all-American thing. That's why we've got the U.S. flag and the We the People preamble of the U.S. Constitution on our Truth Over Treason campaign. I've got 350 of these things printed. I'll tell you this, I had $170 in the bank. I've got 140 of it, printing up 350 of these so I can come here today, giving a presentation tomorrow. It's an hour-long presentation. I've just given you a little gist of what I've got to say, but in my hour-long presentation tomorrow, it's going to climax with handing these out. And everybody here is called to fill this out and go back to their own local community and give this to a judge or an elected official or a prosecutor. Because there are laws on the books, Chris. Misprision of treason means that if you know that treason happened in your country, then you are compelled legally.
And you think somehow the American legal system missed it?
Absolutely. The American legal system has an element of corruption in it, don't you think? It's not pure. Nobody is pure. We're not pure. The American system is not pure. There's corruption, but there's also some good people. I'm relying on that light of truth in your heart and in my heart to work, to influence your Fifth Amendment right to due process of law. That's all I'm asking for. All I'm asking for is the first ever real independent investigation of 9/11. The 9/11 Commission was a sham. The joint inquiry was a collapse. So this is going to be good for the country. It's going to be cathartic. It's going to get us closer to the justice and the Bill of Rights that the Founding Fathers originally wrote out.
What's the penalty for treason?
The penalty for treason is not a slap on the wrist. It is pretty serious. The penalty for treason could be the death sentence. I'm a Christian and a Catholic. I personally don't endorse the death sentence. So I guess that's an ethical conundrum right there. But you're right, the penalty for treason is pretty harsh in this country. I think what I can take from that is that it's a serious crime. Treason is the only crime that the U.S. Constitution actually defines. That's how serious it is. And the primary definition of treason is to levy war against the United States. Levy war in the case law on treason is defined on to cause or compel the USA to go to war. I remind you, 9/11 caused us or compelled us to go into 2 illegal wars in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Perhaps because
who are we attacked by? It's never been proven that Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden is not on the FBI's most wanted list for 9/11. Did you know that? You can call the FBI and they can say, well, we just don't have enough evidence to indict Osama. So you can, anybody that's watching your program right now can go on the internet.
I believe there's a $10 million reward.
But not for Osama bin Laden related to 9/11. For the embassy bombings of '98 in Khartoum and in Nairobi. Not for 9/11. This is very interesting, and this is extremely compelling to people because most people think Osama bin Laden did 9/11. Those that believe the official story, right? But yeah, the FBI's most wanted list, publicly available document online. You can see that Osama bin Laden is not actually wanted by the FBI for 9/11. Thanks for your time.
Then we have 2 shots. Just sit there for a minute. You just sit in and like 2 shots.